Welcome fam! Before we dive into the story, please kindly subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts below. Marcus Blackwood adjusted his $3,000 Armani tie as he strode through his Manhattan penthouse, barking orders into his Bluetooth. The city sprawled beneath him like a conquered kingdom, every glass tower a testament to his empire. At 42, he controlled half the commercial real estate in New York, and today's meeting in Singapore would seal his global domination. Maria, he snapped at the slight black woman polishing his marble countertops. She'd been cleaning his penthouse for 3 years, invisible as furniture. "Make sure my luggage gets to the car." She looked up, her dark eyes filled with an urgency he'd never seen before. "Mr. Blackwood, please don't go to Singapore today." Her voice trembled, hands gripping the cleaning cloth. "I have a very bad feeling about this meeting." Marcus laughed, a cold sound that echoed off the floor-to-ceiling windows. "A bad feeling? What are you, some kind of fortune teller now?" He grabbed his briefcase, shaking his head in disgust. "Save the voodoo nonsense for someone who cares about your superstitions." Maria Santos had learned to make herself invisible. Growing up in the Bronx, cleaning houses had taught her that rich people preferred their help to be seen but not heard, present but not noticed. But today, every instinct screamed danger. She'd watched Marcus for 3 years, learning his patterns, his enemies, his blind spots. The way Jonathan Hayes smiled too wide during their video calls. How certain board members whispered when Marcus left the room. Small details others missed, but Maria saw everything. "Mr. Blackwood, please," she tried again, stepping closer. "I've seen this before. The signs are all there. Your partner Jonathan." "Enough." Marcus whirled around, his face flushed with rage. "You're a maid, not my business advisor. Clean my toilets and keep your mouth shut about things you couldn't possibly understand." Maria's shoulders sagged, but her eyes remained steady. She'd tried to save him before, prevented him from eating tainted sushi that would have hospitalized him, quietly fixed a gas leak he never knew existed, redirected packages that contained tracking devices. He never noticed. He never thanked her. But she kept trying anyway. The corporate jet hummed through cloudless skies towards Singapore, Marcus sipping champagne while reviewing contracts that would make him the largest property owner in Southeast Asia. Jonathan Hayes sat across from him, all smiles and congratulations, discussing their partnership with animated gestures. "This is it, Marcus," Jonathan said, raising his glass. "Once we sign these papers, we'll control the entire Pacific Rim market." His teeth gleamed white against his tan face, but something flickered in his eyes, something Maria would have recognized immediately. The meeting took place in a glass conference room 50 floors above Singapore's financial district. Asian businessmen in expensive suits welcomed Marcus with bows and handshakes. Documents were spread across mahogany tables, pens clicked, cameras flashed for the press. Then Marcus's phone exploded with notifications. News alerts, stock prices plummeting, headlines screaming across every financial website. Blackwood empire exposed. Money laundering scandal rocks Wall Street. Photos of falsified documents, secret bank accounts, testimony from anonymous sources filled his screen. His reputation was being destroyed in real time, thousands of miles from home. The emergency landing felt like divine punishment. Engines failed, oxygen masks dropped, passengers screamed as the plane bucked through storm clouds toward an emergency strip in the Philippines. Marcus gripped his armrest, Jonathan's panicked face reflecting his own terror. Back in New York, Maria watched the news coverage from her small Bronx apartment. She tried to warn him about the Chicago deal 2 years ago. The same pattern, the same betrayal signs. He'd ignored her then too, nearly lost everything before luck saved him. This time, luck wouldn't be enough.
Her phone rang.
Maria, it's Detective Rodriguez. We need to talk. She'd been waiting for this call for 3 years, ever since she'd started working for Marcus. The FBI had approached her then, knowing her background as a former CIA pattern analyst who'd burned out after failing to prevent a terrorist attack that killed dozens. She'd agreed to monitor Marcus, not knowing she'd end up genuinely caring about protecting him. He's in trouble, Rodriguez said. Your intelligence was right. Hayes has been planning this for months. But there's more. Someone's been hunting people like you, Maria. Former analysts who went underground. 3 dead in the past year. Marcus returned to New York a broken man. His penthouse felt like a mausoleum, empty of everything that mattered. The media camped outside his building, board members avoided his calls, and his empire crumbled with each passing hour. But one thing haunted him more than his financial ruin, Maria's warning. How had she known? He pulled up security footage, studying her face from that morning. Not the face of a superstitious maid, but someone who understood something he'd missed entirely. He found her apartment empty, cleaned out so thoroughly it looked like no one had ever lived there. Only one thing remained, a newspaper clipping about the Morrison deal in Chicago, the near disaster that had almost destroyed him 2 years earlier. In the margin, someone had written, "Pattern recognized. Intervention successful. Subject unaware." His hands shook as he read it again. Subject unaware. She'd been protecting him all along, and he'd been too arrogant to see it. The phone rang with a number he didn't recognize. Maria's voice, calm and controlled. "Mr. Blackwood,
We need to meet.
your life depends on it." The abandoned warehouse in Queens smelled of rust and forgotten dreams. Marcus arrived alone, his usual security detail dismissed. Maria had insisted. She emerged from the shadows like a ghost, no longer the submissive maid, but someone entirely different. "You want to know how I knew?" she said, not a question but a statement. "You want to know who I really am?" The walls around them were covered with photos, documents, red string connecting faces, and dates in a complex web. Marcus recognized some faces, business rivals, board members, politicians. Others were strangers, but all connected by invisible threads Maria had been tracking for years. "My name is Maria Santos, and I used to work for the CIA as a pattern analyst," she began. "I could see connections others missed, predict events before they happened. Until I missed one that mattered. 37 people died in an embassy bombing I should have prevented." Marcus stared at the wall of connections, understanding flooding through him. "You've been watching me, protecting me. You were never supposed to be my target," Maria continued. "I was hired to monitor you, but I realized you were just a pawn in something much bigger. Jonathan Hayes isn't working alone. There's a network of corporate assassins who eliminate people like me, analysts who know too much. They killed Sarah Chun in San Francisco last month," Maria explained, pointing to a photo of an Asian woman. "David Park in Seattle 3 weeks ago. Both former intelligence analysts who'd gone underground, working ordinary jobs. They're hunting us systematically." Marcus felt the walls closing in. "But why involve me?" "Because I got too close to their operation. They needed to discredit my intelligence, make me look crazy. What better way than to destroy my employer and make it look like coincidence?" Maria's eyes blazed with controlled fury. "They used your trust in Jonathan to set up the perfect trap." Suddenly, red lasers danced across the warehouse walls. "They found us," Maria whispered, grabbing Marcus's hand. "Move." Gunfire erupted as they dove behind concrete pillars. Maria pulled a pistol from her jacket. The maid who'd silently scrubbed his floors was now expertly returning fire. They ran through the warehouse, Maria leading him through a maze of machinery toward a hidden exit. "There's a tunnel system," she shouted over the gunfire. "Built during Prohibition. I've been mapping safe routes for months." They dropped through a concealed trapdoor into darkness, the sound of pursuit echoing above them. In the underground tunnels, Marcus finally understood. Maria hadn't just been his maid. She'd been his guardian angel. The safe house was Maria's childhood home in the Bronx, a modest two-bedroom where her grandmother had raised her after her parents died. Photographs of a young Maria accepting academic awards lined the hallway. Valedictorian, full scholarship to MIT, recruitment by the CIA at 22. "I was the best they had," she said quietly, making coffee in the small kitchen. "Until I wasn't." Marcus sat at the kitchen table where Maria had once done homework, feeling smaller than he'd ever felt in his penthouse. "Why didn't you just let them destroy me? After how I treated you?" Maria's laugh held no bitterness. "Because you reminded me of someone I used to know, brilliant, ambitious, but blind to the people trying to help you. My grandmother always said the measure of a person isn't how they treat their equals, but how they treat those they consider beneath them." She spread documents across the table, bank records, communication logs, assassination orders. "Here's how we save your life and stop them. But you'll have to trust me completely." Marcus looked at this woman who'd spent 3 years invisible in his world, protecting him from dangers he'd never imagined. "What do you need me to do?" The plan was audacious. Marcus would return to his penthouse, seemingly defeated, while Maria orchestrated a digital counterattack that would expose the entire network. She'd spent years gathering evidence, and now she'd use his media connections to broadcast the truth. "Jonathan thinks he's won," Maria explained as she uploaded files to secure servers worldwide. "He'll get cocky, make mistakes. That's when we strike." Marcus watched her work, fingers flying across multiple keyboards, her mind processing information faster than any computer. This was the woman he'd dismissed as superstitious, the genius he'd treated like furniture. The broadcast went live at exactly 6 p.m., interrupting regular programming across 3 networks. Maria's evidence painted a picture of corporate espionage, political corruption, and systematic murder that reached the highest levels of government. Jonathan Hayes's face appeared on screens worldwide, connected to a web of conspiracy that stretched from Wall Street to Washington. Within hours, the FBI was making arrests. Jonathan's assets were frozen. The network that had hunted Maria and others like her was crumbling under the weight of public exposure. But as dawn broke over New York, Maria was already packing. "It's not over," she told Marcus. "There are others. I have work to do." 6 months later, Marcus stood in his rebuilt penthouse, but everything had changed. The marble was still polished, the view still spectacular, but the man who lived there bore little resemblance to the arrogant billionaire who'd once dismissed his maid's warnings. Maria Santos, now officially his chief security advisor, reviewed the morning intelligence reports at what used to be his breakfast table. She'd found and stopped 3 more assassination attempts, dismantled 2 corporate espionage networks, and saved 7 other former analysts from the same fate that had claimed her colleagues. "New Maid starts today," she mentioned casually, watching Marcus's reaction. He looked up from his coffee, noting the careful way Maria observed the woman arranging flowers in the hallway. "Should I be worried?" Maria's smile was enigmatic. Let's just say I'll be paying attention to anyone who tries to warn you about bad feelings. The morning news played softly in the background, reporting on Jonathan Hayes' conviction and the congressional hearings that had resulted from Maria's revelations. Marcus's empire was stronger than ever, built now on genuine partnerships rather than exploitation. But the real change was simpler. He'd learned to listen to the people he'd once considered invisible. Sometimes the most important truths come from the most unexpected voices. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible true stories of hidden heroes and unexpected justice. Share this with someone who needs to remember that everyone has value, regardless of their position in life. Drop a comment below. What's the most important lesson you learned from Maria's story? Have you ever ignored warning signs from someone you should have listened to? **** Remember, the people we overlook might be the ones keeping us alive. Don't be too proud to listen.
Don't be too blind to see.
Hit subscribe and share the story. You never know who needs to hear it today.